The Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast. The voice of small businesses and the communities they serve.
Over the last 24 months, The Difference has evolved into a powerful internet media company that helps small businesses and local communities and nonprofit organizations create, produce, broadcast, and distribute a variety of shows, all designed to empower our communities, the businesses, the people, the places, and the events that make our cities, communities, and the folks that live there so very special.
With almost 1.5 million viewers and listeners in the last 2 years, The Difference and its unique strategy of positive impact branding has helped communities and small businesses be seen, be heard, and be remembered.
In a world that is consumed with negative press, media manipulation, and propaganda, The Difference, along with many others who believe in and support The Difference, understand that there is no better way to make the difference in our communities than to highlight the unsung heroes and high achievers that call our towns and communities home. And we wanted to create a platform that does just that. One that brings awareness to and reminds folks of the goodness that lives within so many of us and our neighbors.
And don't forget to hit that like, follow, and subscribe button, and tune in each week so you can experience the difference.
Hey, you guys just walked into the Real Talk with Brian Poduska. Hey, you know, I'm Stephen Beaver. I'm filling in for him today, but guess what? This topic today is business processing. We have two rock stars. We have one person who's going to tell you the recipe for business processing, and the other one, he's just going to rock your life. He's a rock star in doing that stuff. So get ready to have your rock and roll. All right. Congratulations. You made it. You're here. We're going to have an awesome day today. Of course, this is the Real Talk with Brian Poduska show. I'm Stephen Beaver, standing in for him as a host. And today we are going to just simply have a lot of fun, but at the same time, a lot of interesting and great facts to help you make the difference. And so all I can say is I've been looking forward to this. I know both of these people. One of them I study under, and one of them I met about a year ago, and he's just an amazing person. You're going to love him. He has a recipe for just about everything, and so of course that's why we brought him on the show. And the other guy, he's a rock star, and been with rock stars, and you'll know as soon as he starts talking and he tells you who he is, and he's gonna rock your life. Little bit about myself. I build personal banks, and so all I do is help people get out of debt. You be debt free. If you got a 30-year plan, we can usually do it in 10. If you got a 10-year plan, we can usually do it in 3. So it's just, everybody talks about ROI, but here's the thing. ROI, return of investment, doesn't matter if you're still broke paying your bills. So why don't we get most of those bills gone? House, car, credit cards, and get going and rocking and rolling that way. So that's going to be my theme today. You're going to hear me say that a lot just because of the guests that we have today. So, but that's what I do. I don't want to spend a lot of time on what I do because I really want to get into it. We have another co-host on here, Carrie. She's amazing. She's dynamite. And Lyndon, if you could bring her in. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You're muted, Carrie.
You're muted, my friend. We still love you. You got to unmute yourself.
I didn't know I was muted.
It's
My
okay.
bad. How you doing?
Oh, man, it's a great day today. I've been happy, successful. I got a lot of stuff done this morning. Went to a networking meeting and got back here working on some other stuff. And then I was like, I got on like freaking 15, 30 minutes early just so I could be prepared and psyched up for today's show. Just getting to see you, getting to see my friends. Life doesn't get any better than that. Well, you TMV take more vacations, maybe it does.
Yeah,
but anyway, that's me. Let's talk about you.
Carrie Cook, Cavalier Realty Group with Keller Williams and Allen. I'm a realtor, obviously. And then my husband and I own a roofing business, Cook DFW Roofing and Restorations. So busy.
Yep.
I've been super busy. And we do remodels too. People don't realize that, but we do.
See, yeah, right on. So you want to go ahead and bring your guest in,
Sure.
or tell us about your guest, and then we'll bring him in, and then I'll tell you a little bit about my guest, and then we'll bring him in, and then we'll rock and roll.
Okay. Michael Copeland with Copeland Cares Agency. He's just opened his new agency March 1st. And so I wanted to get him some exposure to everybody around. Most people know him because he networks very well, but never hurts.
And he's the chef with the recipe.
For insurance.
Right? That's for insurance. That's right. I wonder how he got that tagline. You'll have to ask him later. Anyway, Linda, can you bring in Michael? Michael, just there it is. The recipe for success. Sorry, for insurance. Same thing. So Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us you don't have to do that 30-second thing that we normally do. Go ahead and spend a couple of minutes and tell us about yourself and what you do and who you are and all that kind of cool stuff.
So hi, everyone. I'm Michael Copeland. I am with Copeland Cares Insurance Agency of Farmers. I have been doing insurance about 4 years. And one of the things that I noticed about insurance when I first started was it's just like a recipe. Key ingredients actually make the policy what it is. And with some help of some unmentioned people, we were able to formulate my old career of being a chef for 30 years into the insurance world and came up with I am the chef with the recipe for insurance. Because just like your favorite recipe, if it's missing that one key ingredient, it's not going to be as great as it normally is. Like try making potato salad with sweet potatoes instead. It's not always such a great idea.
It was good.
But just like having a policy that you don't know that you have ACV versus RCV is totally different. And it's different in coverage, and it's different in what you pay, and it's different in what you're covered with. So I always try to make sure people understand that let me help you dissect the recipe. So what do we have to look at to make sure that your recipe is going to turn out delicious when it comes time for you to need it?
Right on. Yeah. And we'll get into that, who helped you with that tagline. But we're not going to say any names right now. Just initials is Craig Duswalt. And, this guy, he lived the life that we all, at least when we're young, we dream of. He was in the concert theme. He was with the bands, a couple of them. He'll tell you all about him. He was a personal assistant. I'm not even going to, this guy. But then what he did was he developed systems to get your business. So, and his whole thing, and it's beautiful because he wants you to be different, right? Kind of the difference, right? So you get it? So without further ado, let's bring in this rock star. There he is. Hey, I know that guy.
What guy? Oh,
yeah, that guy. So
good morning.
Good morning. It is. Well, it's afternoon here, but it's morning somewhere. Australia. Where
it's always morning where I am.
So yeah. It's morning for somebody. So, but yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and then let's go.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on. My name is Craig Duswalt. I'm a keynote speaker mainly. I'm an author, I'm a podcaster, but I mainly put on large events for entrepreneurs. And for years, for the last 15 or 16 years, I lived in California and I put on rockstar marketing boot camps for like 600, 700 entrepreneurs twice a year. I just recently moved to Texas about a year and a half ago, and now I do events here. But I changed my brand, and we can talk about that later, to Rock Your Life. Everything is Rock Your Life, and I help people deliver their message like a rock star. And the reason why I have all these rock star things is I used to tour with the bands Air Supply and Guns N' Roses. Air Supply, I was a band assistant. Very long story. I'll make it very, very short. I was working in a theater in Long Island, New York, 2 weeks after graduating college. When I graduated college, I got a job at a small theater in Long Island, and Westbury Music Fair it was called, still is actually, and worked there for about 2 weeks. And Air Supply came in and did a show on a Friday and Saturday night. Friday night, I worked the show as a runner backstage. I was getting drinks for the band, towels for the bands, and then I would drive them to and from sound check. I was like a runner, the lowest man on the totem pole. And then the second night, I was not scheduled to work for the second Air Supply show, but my mother wanted to go see Air Supply. And since I worked there, she wanted me to take her to the concert. So 2 weeks out of college, I'm with my mother at a concert, and there goes my dating life. But anyway, I went to the concert, and during the show, she says, you know, you work here, you could get me backstage. I'd like to meet the band. So I'm like, great, my mother's a groupie. So I get her backstage because I work there. And I introduced her to the band. I only met them last night. But this big 6'5", 350-pound guy walks up to me and he says, you were the guy that was working here last night, right? And I'm like, yes, I am, Mr. Very Large Man. And he said, how much do you make a week here? And I thought it was none of his business, but he's huge. I should answer the question. So I said about $150 a week. And he said, how would you like to quadruple that? And so many things went through my mind of what this man wanted me to do to him for $600 a week. But, you know, I said, I'm in. I'm just out of college. I'll do whatever you want. So they said the band saw you working last night. They loved your positive attitude and your energy, and they want to know if you want to go on the road. You leave tomorrow morning. They sent a limousine to my house, took me to JFK Airport. I took a Learjet to Wallingford, Connecticut, and I toured with Air Supply for 7 years. And I always say this in my marketing simply because I always say, always do your best just in case someone is watching. So I did that, and I got that job for 7 years. And then the band security guard for Air Supply, through a total long story fluke, became the manager of a new band called Guns N' Roses at the time. And I was friends with him, and he was on the road with them for a little while. And he had lost one of Axl's assistants. So he calls me up, you ready to go back on the road? I'm like, what do I have to do? You have to babysit Axl Rose. Well, doesn't he get in trouble a lot? Yes, but I'm going to pay you a lot of money. Okay, great, I'm in. So then I toured with Guns N' Roses for 4 years during the Use Your Illusion World Tour. And after that, so then I stopped touring with bands. And that's why I teach how to be a rock star in your industry. I have a marketing degree a college marketing degree, and I learned the traditional marketing. But with Guns N' Roses and Air Supply, I learned how to market yourself like a rock star and do things way, way different than we all normally do things. So that's what I teach now at my Rock Your Life seminars. I teach people to deliver their message like a rock star.
Absolutely. Awesome. So, so many questions I want to ask both of you. But Lyndon, you know, we're getting close to that time. Why don't we just, if we can we just go ahead and cut to the commercial now and then get back into it?
Absolutely. We'll go right now.
Awesome.
Today's show is brought to you by the following small businesses.
Liberator Health Insurance, the best value in the health insurance industry. Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Would you like to hear about an alternative to your current health insurance? How about an average of around 30 to 50% savings on your premiums? At Liberator Health Insurance, you can see any doctor, any hospital, small copays, and low deductibles. And there is no referral to see a specialist, all with very affordable premiums. For a quick quote, call or text Greg Holberg today at 214-886-4688.
And by Wines with an Appeal. Wines with an Appeal offers entertaining and educational wine tasting events to help you fundraise, recognize your clients, or just have a fun night out with friends. At our fundraising events, we strive to provide a nice variety of reds, whites, sparkling, and dessert wines. We typically offer a good variety of the core varietals, along with some interesting blends. We sample wines from all over the world. Call or email for details on how it works and how your event could be available at no cost to you. And now back to the show.
All right. So, Michael, I want to start with you. And by the way, everybody knows how to does this, but just for the new people, if somebody's saying something and you want to chip in, this is not just somebody speaks and then wait. You can go get on in there, ask the questions, make the comments. This is a community here. But Michael, I know a little bit about you, and I love the fact of your attention to detail and your I won't do this unless you do it the right way attitude. And one of the best stories that I know of is your past story of things that happened in a house that you had and how you saved. I'm not going to mention Savannah Dunn, a deal done right, but how you saved her when we had that Stormageddon come through, and the things that you did, that you put in place, that just literally most insurance agents would have never gone down that road. And you literally had the recipe for success for just about anything that could happen. So I know I'm kind of leading you there, but I think that is a powerful story of your past and how you incorporated that into your future, and why you do what you do, right?
Yeah, that's you're exactly right. Is I had a very bad experience with insurance, and it was because, well, I didn't know. And unfortunately, ignorance is not an excuse when you have a claim. The policy is written and you just think things are covered when you don't know about insurance. So I started looking into it and finding out what I could do to prevent that from happening to other people. Because it's important that, when you think you have coverage, that when it's time for that coverage to kick in, it's there. It's like a toolbox. If you reach in there and the tool isn't in there, you can't fix it, right? So you got to make sure you put the right tools in the box, so when it comes time and you open that box, that tool is in there.
Tell everybody about the tools you didn't have in your box for your own house. Tell them the death, doom, and destruction story that happened to you, if you don't mind.
So, well, the first one that happened was I needed a new roof because I had some roof leaks. And unfortunately, I didn't know Cook DFW at the time, because I'm sure they would have taken care of me. But I had a $3,000 deductible, which wasn't horrible. But at the time, that was 2%, which I thought I only had a $1,500 deductible, because my house wasn't worth what they are now, of course. So I wound up having that. I got my house. It was like a $21,000 roof. And so I was like, fine, I'll pay $3,000. And then they gave me a check for $3,000. I said, no, this is backwards. I'm supposed to pay $3,000. That's my deductible. And they said, no, you have ACV policy. So that means we don't have depreciation. And therefore we subtract your deductible, and then we subtract your depreciation, and then we subtract metal marring. And most companies, and I say most because there's some companies out there that will make sure that's on your policy, and there's some agents that will do that. And that's the key, is finding that agent that cares enough to make sure that they explain to you what is and isn't covered, because nobody took the time to explain to me, and I just didn't know. So I wound up having to pay $18,000 for my roof instead of $3,000 like I thought I would have to. 3 months later, I had a sewer and drain problem. Literally 3 months later. I was blessed that it was 6 inches on the other side of my property line. So luckily that was not my problem. But I still had to pay for the claim. It was a zero paid claim. So that goes against my insurance score. Most people don't realize your insurance score is exactly like a credit score. So we do our best at Copeland's Cares to protect your insurance score. How can we walk you through the process to make sure you don't have a zero paid claim like I did? And then the real salt on the wound is what you're referring to, is 3 months later, I have my third claim in a 6-month period. And it was a slab leak. Now, most of you might go, wow, those are 3 very common things to happen in North Texas. And yes, they are. And I didn't realize that my insurance didn't have any of them covered. Like I said, the middle one I was good on because luckily it was 6 inches away from being my problem. But the last one, of course, the slab leak, it was a $26,000 claim, and they paid $4,000. They paid $4,000, so I had to pay for that out of my pocket as well. Now, the difference is I wound up making a lot of money on my house when I did sell it because I had such great improvements done. But it still didn't help the fact that those 3 things that I thought the whole reason why I bought insurance was there to help me, and they weren't there to help me.
So everybody doesn't know that you're really a multimillionaire living as an insurance person. But so that was the bad news. But talk about your client, Savannah, and what happened, and how, and the cool things that happened that she didn't have to. I mean, 6 months. I'm not going to do a spoiler alert, but go ahead and because of your past bad experiences, you became a better insurance person, and then you almost literally saved her life in many ways.
Well, I think that might be a little extreme, saving a life, but I did save her house. I will take credit for that. So because of these past experiences, I put a lot of effort into learning what policies cover and what they don't, what coverages companies offer to help prevent that. And again, as one of the reasons why I switched careers was because I needed to make sure what happened to me doesn't happen to other people. Hence the name of the agency, Copeland Cares, because my agency wants to make sure that you're taken care of. So I spend a little more time going over it. I spend every year going over it with you to review your policy to make sure the coverages still match your needs, because I don't know, maybe the price of your house has gone up in the last 2 years, right? So with this particular case that you're talking to, she calls me up and she says, well, I listened to you about running a claim, so I'm not sure I want to put in a claim, but it's raining in my house. I am starting the claim right now. She goes, no, I want to make sure it's going to meet my deductible. And I told her, I said, yes, it will meet your deductible. It's raining in your house. So we get everything situated. She literally was out of pocket her deductible because we had all the right coverages on there. And she had to go, I felt so bad for her family, her dog, had to go stay in a long-term hotel for literally almost 6.5 months because their house wasn't livable. But we had everything in place that when something happens, that she was taken care of. And I will tell you that she is probably one of my biggest cheerleaders because I took the extra time to make sure she had the coverage in place. So when, not if, when something happens, she would be taken care of. And I know that sounds pretty pessimistic to say, well, something's definitely going to happen. For those of you that don't know, there is a claim 1 in every 3 houses.
Wow. So I didn't know that. So Carrie, Craig, want to chip in?
Well, I can attest that he does go over the policy with you, and he does explain it if you don't understand. He doesn't make you feel stupid. So it's like, I don't know what that is, like the marring. I mean, obviously we know what that is, but most people don't, and they don't have the coverage.
I have coverage.
Okay, you bring up an excellent point. You know marring because of your roofing, but did you know what marring was beforehand?
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
I don't like hail.
You're in the wrong state, dude.
Yeah, you're in the wrong state. We got people that save you from hail, though.
I haven't seen it yet. I mean, we had little peas, but everyone says there's going to be these big baseballs coming down. I'm like, well, I haven't seen it yet. Don't want to see it. So, but apparently I have hail coverage, so that's good.
Yeah.
Apparently,
we got roofers that'll save you from hail.
Yep.
Hail, get it? Hail. Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. So moving right along. So Michael, just real quick, how did you figure out that insurance and I'm not talking about what you think I'm talking about, that how did you put it together? How did you formulate the plan that insurance and cooking are like the same thing so that you could make it more easy? Is that a word? I don't know. Anyway, easier for people to understand how important it is to have insurance, just like how important it is to cook things in the right way. I mean, putting that together, you're the one that came up with it. Okay, I just asked questions. So what is it about that?
Well, and it's funny that you say that. It's because for me, that's all I knew, right? Mm-hmm. Like I got into insurance because I was told that, I handled my 3 claims very well. I did not handle my 3 claims very well. I was lost. I was confused. I didn't understand. And I mean, I hate to say it like this, but I really had no idea. And it's because, like I said, that my ignorance level was too high. So what I realized is when I decided to switch careers to make this happen, the only thing I knew were kitchens. And so I had to study and I had to learn and I had to read and I had to go through and see all of these things to make sure I understood them. And then I broke them down. And so what I do is when I get a client and I actually sit them down and I give them little tidbits and let them know that I'm here and I know these tidbits. So think about how much further I can go. But I don't want to put people to sleep, right? Because that's what insuranceese and legalese and all the contracts mean. So I try to educate people in a more layman's terms so you understand. And I use examples like, well, my past history, because I know that what happened to me, if you take the right steps and you take the right care, you can prevent these things from happening to other people. And so that's what I do. I think that answers what you were doing.
No, that's a beautiful why. No, that's great. I mean, and it makes sense every time I listen to you talk, and you start talking about, you know, the who is it that is most important at the restaurant? Is it the lady that brings you in and the hostess, or is it the waitress? No, it's the cook. And then is the cook good, right? I mean, that's why you come back. I mean, sometimes you don't come back because the waitress isn't so hot, but as in good at her job. Okay, please, Carrie, stop going there. All of us guys got it. Okay.
No, I was thinking the other thing.
Yep.
That's where I went. You know?
Sometimes you kill me.
Hey, Michael, how long have you been in the insurance game now?
4 years this month.
So what age were you when you, I'm going to get your age, but when you switched over?
Well, just know that I had a 30-year food service career before I started in insurance.
Great. So, and because of that story you told, that's why you switched over, and that was the impetus?
Yeah, that was the driving force behind it, is because I really did not want this to happen to anybody else. Now, it did take me a while to get there. I actually was a executive chef at a hospital. I got to the point where all I wanted to do was help people.
Yeah.
And the only way I could do that in the food service industry, not the only way, but the major way, is I tried to improve hospital food. And then something happened where the hospital sold, and I was going to lose my job because they already had somebody that would fill it, because the hospital sold, they had contracts, etc.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what am I going to do? And so I was like, you know what? I've been looking at this insurance thing for the last several years. How can I help? How can I help? And so I made the jump.
So one of the things I teach to be a rock star marketer is have a passion for what you do. And I mean, I'm sure you have a passion for insurance, but like you said, I didn't say it, like you said, it's that legalese stuff. It's like boring stuff, right? Oh God, I got to get insurance, or, you know, all that stuff. But you made it exciting for you because you incorporated food in it and your chef thing in it. So now you go to work every day and you're probably excited to talk about insurance because you're really talking about recipes for insurance and all that. So you've incorporated what you really love doing into your brand. And that's basically what one of the things that I teach in marketing, because you guys, like insurance people, have a lot of things that you're not allowed to do certain podcasts and talk about certain things because of the whatever those were. I forget the word I'm looking for, but you have people looking at you saying you can't say that or something like that. I forget the word I'm looking for, but
you're thinking of financial advisors, fiduciary, but
fiduciary, right? So, but he's not allowed to do, like, I have a lot of insurance people. They're not allowed to do YouTube videos about actually buying insurance because they have things that they have to follow and things. So I tell people, why don't you talk about a passion of yours, something that you love doing? And that's where if Michael had a podcast about cooking and then said, oh, by the way, I'm also an insurance agent, things like that. That's the background way of getting more clients. Anyway, I go into that.
Craig, I feel like you've been to one of my cooking classes. Have you?
They very well have. So we're at the half. We're at the half hour. Lyndon, you want to cue that next one up?
He left.
Absolutely.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Today's show is brought to you by the following small businesses.
Liberator Health Insurance, the best value in the health insurance industry. Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Would you like to hear about an alternative to your current health insurance? How about an average of around 30 to 50% savings on your premiums? At Liberator Health Insurance, you can see any doctor, any hospital, small copays, and low deductibles. And there is no referral to see a specialist, all with very affordable premiums. For a quick quote, call or text Greg Holberg today at 214-886-4688.
And by Wines with an Appeal. Wines with an Appeal offers entertaining and educational wine tasting events to help you fundraise. recognize your clients, or just have a fun night out with friends. At our fundraising events, we strive to provide a nice variety of reds, whites, sparkling, and dessert wines. We typically offer a good variety of the core varietals, along with some interesting blends. We sample wines from all over the world. Call or email for details on how it works and how your event could be available at no cost to you. And now back to the show.
Right on. So, Craig, I know there's so many things that I can say. The very end of one of your programs, you show how you are like a rock star. You show the rock star and the entrepreneur, and then you talk about web pages and you talk about all this other kind of stuff. So I'm not going to really ask you a real question because you do this all the time and you know what.
Great. Ask me a fake question. Let's go there. Ask me a fake question. Go.
Okay. So when you're riding horses and the cow manure is in your seat, what do you do?
You think like a rock star and you start singing and playing guitar. I have no idea. No idea. All right, let's go back to the real question then.
Okay, the real question is, what do you do? How do you do it? And I would really like for you to share, because you have so much, just at least one brilliant idea that will rock people and change rock their life and change their life so they can make a difference and be who they really are.
All right. God, I got like 254 of those, and you want me to pick out one. All right, so basically, no, I do. So I do these large events, right, for entrepreneurs and people that want to be speakers or authors, or they're regular business owners and they want to be like known as the expert in their field. So I just spoke at I went to Connect 22, that's where I met Stephen, 2022, and then I just spoke at two chapters. I spoke at West Plano and Prosper today, and tomorrow I'm speaking at Grandscape. Anyway, this whole Connect world that I just got into is a pretty amazing, great culture world. So anyway, most of the people though that I've met, most of the people out of the, I'm going to say 250, 60, 70 people that I've met so far, like maybe 5 of them have written a book. And I'm like, oh, that's very interesting to me, because the world that I'm in, the seminar world that I'm in, most everyone in the audience has written some sort of book. So now I'm in my wheelhouse, because the first thing I teach people is to write a book about your area of expertise, whatever it is. So like, even if you own a jewelry store, write a book on the different type of diamonds that you can buy. Why yellow is a good diamond. Why, all the different levels of a diamond. You could do that, a short book, a small book. So any business, I met a roofer today, a guy that builds roofs. And he goes, why would I write a book about roofs? Or building roofs or fixing roofs? And I'm like, because no one else in your business has a book about fixing roofs. And you would be the one person that, if you're up for a job, you're going to leave behind, hey, I'm bidding on this job, but here's my book on what I think that I can do for your roof and your house. Anyway, if you have that mentality, then you're thinking like a rock star, thinking differently than everybody else that just goes to a networking group. They go to the Chamber of Commerce, they put out a god-awful trifold brochure about something, and they think that that's marketing. And my marketing is like totally different than that. You got to write a book. You got to do a podcast like you guys are doing. You got to speak on stages, and you don't have to be a professional speaker, but like lunch and learns or something where you're perceived as the expert in the field because you're in front of an audience. Well, the book is the easiest thing to do, because I teach you how to write. I can teach you how to write a book. I can teach you how to become a #1 Amazon best-selling author, how to sell the book, how to actually make money with the book. But most importantly, as soon as you put your name and your face on the front cover of a book, then you are now automatically an expert in the field. So no matter what field you're in, if you've written the book on the subject that you're meeting with people, you are now automatically the expert. And 99% of the people in this world don't write books because of the overwhelm of writing a book. But I have this thing on May 26th that I'm not going to promote here, because you have to be kind of local, 4.5-hour seminar on the morning of May 22nd. How to write a book in 30 days, promote your business, get it published, and become an Amazon #1 best-selling author. And in 4.5 hours, I'm going to teach these people how unoverwhelming it is to write a book. So anyway, I have a ton of, you want me to give you a book marketing idea, like a book, an idea to market a book? Is that what you want?
Absolutely.
All right. So I teach people, I don't have them here, to write small books. So I've written 10 books. So what I do a lot is I'll take 10 small books, they're 96-page books, and I'll put them in my backpack. And I'll go to my local Barnes & Noble bookstore. And I'll walk around the bookstore and think, where do my books look good in this bookstore? So I'll go over to the marketing aisle and I take my books out of my backpack and I put them on the shelf. And that is called reverse shoplifting. You could, and you know what's really funny is people pay thousands of dollars to go to seminars to learn how to get their books on bookshelves. And I'm like, why is this so difficult? You just put them there yourself. I don't understand why this isn't even an issue. So I teach people like this thing. And what happens is when I do this, I always put my books next to Tony Robbins' book, which is kind of funny. And so they'll buy my book and they go up to the counter and they scan the book because there's a real ISBN number and it's a real book and it's in the system because I have the ISBN number. And they scan it and the bookstore will say, that's weird. It doesn't say we have any copies left. So what they do is because someone bought the book, they think they have 0 copies. They'll call the publisher, which is me, and then they order more books and then they put them on the bookshelves. And it's just this kind of funny thing. I do so many things, so many marketing things with books. Like I could go for hours talking about things that you can do to market yourself by using this one little book, but I don't have hours. So that's why I do seminars.
That is
okay. So I got to know, I mean, I love going to bookstores. So you just pop it on there and nobody ever says nothing.
Every time I go to a bookstore, I put my books on the shelves. I always take my books and put them on bookshelves.
Okay.
Okay, here's another thing. So at the airport, you're walking by, they always have that Hudson News area, right? They always have the display for New York Times bestseller lists. Every time I'm in an airport, I put like 2 or 3 books under the slot under #1. And then I take a picture of myself, and then I leave and I leave my books there. And then I get on planes. And the first, like if I'm in row 8, I'll take all my books and I'll put them in the backs of seats for the first 7 rows on the aisle as I'm walking to my seat. It's just a way of getting your books out there, and you never know who's going to read it. You never know who's going to see it, but it's just the way to get I have like library ideas. It's crazy. So many things you can do with a book.
That is freaking awesome. So tell us a story about when you were with the bands. What is one of your favorite stories? Oh, or tell us about when you wrote the book and there was a certain musician that wasn't so happy about it and what he did to stop.
No, you guys, you're recording this. I'm not going to tell that story because I don't want that out there. But I got to think of a story that I don't mind being recorded. No, I don't want to tell that one. No, I can't tell that one. Instead of that kind of a story, I'll tell you another marketing idea while I'm thinking of a Guns N' Roses story that I don't usually talk about. It's funny. I don't usually talk about Guns N' Roses or Air Supply when I do these interviews, just because that was my old life and everything. But I learned a lot of stuff. Like I know that believe me, I have stories. I wrote a book called Welcome to My Jungle. All right, so what Stephen is implying, saying, I wrote this book, Welcome to My Jungle, and Axel wasn't happy that I wrote the book, but I was like, he goes, I would really prefer that you don't write the book. And when I talked to him, I was like, sorry, I already wrote it and it's already published. I told him after the fact. But it made him look great. I mean, I didn't tell any dirt. I didn't share anything bad. But he was upset that I wrote the book, and he goes, I'm just going to tell everyone not to buy your book. And I'm like, okay, that's great. If you think about it. he's going to tell the world not to buy my book, which makes everyone
Go buy it.
buy the book. Right. So, but that's not an outside the box marketing idea. That's just a thing that happened. But I have one more that's a really good one. You're going to love this. This is outside the box marketing. And this is how I think to do marketing. It's called envelopes. You know, those regular business envelopes, number 10 white envelopes. And you would, I get envelopes and I would write. So say I wanted Michael to sponsor my event. I heard he's this rock star chef insurance guy. And I say to myself, you know what? It would be great if Michael came to my seminar, set up a table and just like, I don't know, was doing chef stuff, but he really sells insurance. Kind of a cool thing to have at a seminar, right? A trade show or a seminar. So I would write Michael Copeland, and I would write his address on the envelope, and I would put my return address on there. And underneath the return address, I would put my telephone number. And I'd lick it and I'd mail it off to Michael. And Michael would open it, and there'd be nothing in the envelope. And Michael would be like, oh, shoot, what the heck was in this envelope? It's empty. There's nothing in it. So he looks at the return address. He's like, oh, good, there's a telephone number. So he calls me, my telephone number. He says, hey, Craig, my name is Michael Copeland, and I just opened the envelope, and there was nothing in it. I'm just curious what was in it. And I said, nothing. I really just wanted to ask you if you wanted to sponsor my event. And then one of two things happened. Either one, he gets upset, and I'm like, dude, you called me. I didn't call you. I don't know why you're getting upset. Or number two is what always happens is, damn, I hate cold calling. And that is a really great way to talk to someone. So I always have a conversation with them because they usually say that. And I'll say, look, here is honest. I saw you at an event. I thought you were really interesting. I am having an event. I thought your table would be a good idea to be at my event. And 90% of the time they'd buy the table because it's a different way, a clever way to get to someone instead of the dreaded cold call. So I have like 253 more of those ideas.
Nice.
So I just want to let y'all know I want to sponsor this event.
That's right. You'll get a letter.
I didn't even have a letter yet. But yeah,
So
that's the way, I mean, that's the way you do things different because everyone else is doing, you know, all the typical stuff, right?
Mhm.
I just there's so many more things that you can do to stand out from the rest of your competition. So think like a rock star.
That's right, right, rock star. So we're getting close to that quarter hour, but before we could take a break, I just want everybody to think, you know, it's business processing, and we've been talking around that and to that. But everybody, when we come back, I'd like you to give at least one of your business processes that has really helped you get the things that you want out of your business. So after that, we're going to go ahead and do that. So Michael, Carrie, we haven't really heard a lot from you. And, you know, I'm all about equal rights. So, you know, people with yellow Hawaiian shirts and red glasses should always talk more than beautiful women. But I'm going to make an exception this time.
Oh, don't feel you need to for me. I'm enjoying listening to Craig and Michael.
That's all right. Well, yeah, these guys are they're both rock stars in their own world. That is for sure. But so are you. You usually when we're talking about other things, always come up with the cool questions and things like that too. So
well, there's so many running through my head for Craig. I don't even know where to start.
I know.
With one,
separate call for
start
that.
with one. But don't give him a question that, you know, when he says, give me a question that's out of the park, you know, don't do it like me. And he didn't know who he was stepping into when he said that.
No.
We're sitting in.
I just don't want to make it about, you know, I don't want to, it's in my book. Just read the book, Guns N' Roses book. Anyway, I just want to make it about business. I didn't want to go into the, what's Axel doing these days? You know, that's all.
Yeah,
that's
no.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'll know on our next show not to ever ask you that
I'll think
again.
of something to say during the next break.
Right on. So I know Lyndon usually steps away for a minute. I don't know if he's back yet.
I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and if you can cue us up for that, and then we'll get back to it and ask those questions.
The difference is made possible by the following small businesses.
Real property management focus. an unmatched level of service to property owners, investors, and tenants throughout the DFW Metroplex. When you need a trusted roofing company on your side to help you out with storm damage repair for your roof, call Cook DFW Roofing. Serving Anna, Melissa, Princeton, Prosper, Van Alstyne, and all of the DFW area.
Red Branch Realty and owner-realtor Ashley Gentry are true champions at every level. As a top producer, Ashley Gentry and Red Branch Realty truly embody their mission of being your supporter and partner in your personal real estate journey. So if finding the best representation possible in achieving the American dream of homeownership is important to you, give Ashley a call at 972-342-1869. WeatherTech General Contracting. We make your home renovation dreams a reality.
And by
Alan Lester, branch manager and team lead for the One Group, a branch of Town Square Mortgage. With over 22 years in the mortgage lending industry, Allen and Town Square Mortgage have many loan program options available from conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, and many investor and self-employed programs. So if you're looking for the best in the business, give Allen a call at 214-681-0234.
For more information about our sponsors and their services, or if you would like information on how you and your business can partner with or sponsor this show, or others like it, just check the show description or comments for the relevant links and contact information. And now back to the show.
Oh, you guys are missing it. We got some stuff going on in our private chat. Craig is like, yeah, I'll be back in 15 minutes.
Carrie
too,
and I
you know?
ran out in the street and just introduced each other. Now we're back.
Hey,
All right,
hey,
I got a story, and this is kind of a good one. And the reason why it's a good one, it kind of ties into Michael's insurance business. So this is kind of good. All right, can I tell it? Do you want to?
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Okay. So
Yes, please.
It's called Axl Rose's Moth Extermination System. So when I was on tour with GNR, we were at Axl's house during one of the breaks, and there's like 6 of us in the house. My assistant, a chiropractor, his masseuse, myself, Axl, a couple of people like that. And we're about to have dinner, but this moth is in his dining room, and it's like, 20, 30-foot ceilings. And we're all trying to kill this gigantic moth in his house in Malibu. And we're just like throwing things at it. And Axel's looking at us like just sitting back like, these people are pathetic that you cannot kill this stupid moth. Somebody get this moth out of my house. And it's just like the Three Stooges, all of us trying to kill this moth. So he's like, forget it. I'll just handle it. He goes upstairs to his bedroom, comes downstairs with a shotgun. And he literally lays down on the floor in his dining room, puts the dining room chair over him for protection, just in case the moth sees the shotgun and dive bombs at him, I guess. and he takes his shotgun and he blows up the moth and his ceiling. My question to you, Michael, is where does that fit under the insurance umbrella?
That would be self-insured, out-of-pocket expenses.
That's what I
So that'd be like your old insurance, Michael, right?
Right. So what kind of insurance, though, Michael? Let's think outside the box now here. What kind of insurance would cover, because you want to be covered for everything, a shotgun moth situation?
I would recommend getting with the renovation company and paying them a monthly sum so that they're under contract for you.
So anyway, I had to hire someone to fix the roof. Anyway, the next session.
That's brilliant.
But that's Axl Rose's moth extermination system. Everyone has a system,
That is brilliant. Thinking outside the box already, Michael. That's so awesome. So, all right, Carrie, ladies first. And so,
you always do this to me.
Well, you're right. But I can go to Michael.
Yeah, go to him. I got to think about that.
Michael, give us some process, something out of the box if you want, that will help that's helped you and you think will help other people get what they want in their business life or personal. Doesn't matter to me.
So I think Craig said it best, and I'm not exactly. I'm gonna semi quote you, Craig, but it's doing something others don't do. And what I like to do is I like to actually think outside the box, but it's not really outside the box. It's actually just caring about my client and actually giving them a little bit more in-depth understanding of what they're purchasing. I always tell people that I'm not an insurance salesman. I'm not. I don't believe in that. I will not sell you. I will advise you until I'm blue in the face. And believe me, that passion that he was talking about, I do not want you to be out of pocket over $40,000 in a 6-month period. Now, if you want to be, that's fine. That's great. That's up to you. That's called self-insurance. So, but for me, it's taking that extra step, that extra time to say, listen, Stephen, we need to sit down and review this a little bit more in depth, because 9 out of 10 insurance agents go, oh, you want a quote? Here you go. And they email it to you, mail it to you, give it to you, whatever. And nobody ever takes the time to explain it. So you really don't know what you're purchasing. So when you do that, what are you purchasing based on price? Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that when you actually have something and it's covered, that's the process I go through to make sure that you understand what we have in there. Now, Stephen, I know you would never do this, but if I was actually going through this process with you, you could be like, yeah, I'm not worried about that ever happening. So take that out. And then it's great. We can take that out. But the thing is making sure that you understand. I put together a proposal for you to understand. I know what coverages need to be in place for you, mainly because I knew before I actually got into insurance what 3 things happen most to you. And luckily you get to learn from my errors. So that's where I am a little bit different, is I take a different approach to understand, making sure that my clients understand what they're purchasing instead of just throwing something in front of them and going, yeah, is this what you want?
Right on. Right on. Awesome. Carrie.
Yeah. I was listening. Oh, process. Stepping out of real estate for a minute and going on the roofing side, we've hired 3 people, and you have to have processes in place to make them successful. Otherwise they're going to fail because they don't know what you expect and they don't know what to do for you.
Right.
I don't have employees.
Not employees. They're 1099, but they're project managers.
Yeah, I have those. I have 1099.
Yeah.
I stay away from the employee situation. I have 1099 people all the time. But yeah, that's a big thing, the expectation. Like if you're not on the same page of expectation, that's where it gets a little wonky. That's where people get upset. That's where people are, they hold grudges because they're like, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Expectations are a huge thing in your business. Yeah.
So, Craig, what is your brilliant idea?
Yeah. And mine just happened like, at Connect 2022, because that was my first speaking gig to a live audience, not mine, as a guest speaker in 2 years. And it reminded me the power of showing up and showing up in person to things again. There's every time I do a seminar, these very large seminars, everybody in the room is just on fire, just like I saw at Connect 2022. You walk out of there on fire. And if you have like a mastermind group or a coaching program or something where you're connected with people as you go on, you're going to be more successful. So over the years, I have totally noticed the people that show up to these type of events, that really embrace these type of events. I have 150 people in my mastermind group. And when they show up and do the stuff that is taught at either my event or someone else's event, they're having a much better year than the people that paid to be in my mastermind program, chosen to stay home because they're busy or I got something planned. And I get it, if you're getting married that weekend, fine. Okay, that's a good excuse. But like I literally had a lady tell me, I'm not joking, I can't make your event in July. And I'm saying this July, but it was another July years ago. I can't make your event in July because I'm getting my dog groomed that weekend. And when I heard that, I'm like, see, this is exactly why you're not going to be successful. And this person keeps putting off, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's the people that don't show up, don't feel the energy in the room, don't meet people and network with people that are still doing the same thing years later. They always say to me, I'm going to join your mastermind next year. I can't wait. Not one person that has ever said that to me has ever even come back to an event. They just let things happen, and they're still doing the same thing 5 years later. It's the people that take action. Like I just went to Connect 22. Yes, I was a speaker, but I stayed there like all day and met tons of great people. And now I'm speaking at all these little chapters all over North Texas, which is filling up my room in July, which is like the easiest thing in the world to do. Connect with a networking group, connect with some sort of group, be part of that group, have like a book. I have 10. That's another thing that helps me stand out, and have an event that you can send them to, or some sort of thing that you can send them to. And that's how it's so easy. It is so easy to be successful in my world, in my speaker, author, consulting, mastermind, coaching world. But if you don't show up and learn the stuff, you're never going to be successful. And people try to do it on their own, and it just doesn't work. You just have to be part of a group. That's why Connect 22 was so huge for me. It's reminded me we got to get back to, seeing each other and and networking with each other live instead of on Zoom and StreamYard. This is great as an added, but got to get out again.
So we got 4 minutes left. I'll close it out. I'll give you a couple of tidbits on my side of the story. First of all, Jim Rohn says you're the sum total of the 5 people you're around the most. That also is your wealth. Okay, so if you don't think you're going to get something out of something, you're right. But if you do think you're going to get something, you are. So I think Henry Ford was famous for saying that. The other thing is there was this book, very famous book. I'm sorry, more famous than yours, called Think and Grow Rich. Okay, It's a lie. Okay, because thinking doesn't grow. You don't grow rich. It's the activities that you do. And then that is a lie. It's not just the activities, but how consistent are you doing it? There's only 2 things you really need to do to succeed. 1, plant the seeds. 2, keep planting the seeds. Actually, it's 3 things in. And then 3, you got to wait for the harvest. You got to put the work in, right? So if you're doing something and you know it's the right thing to do, keep doing it. Yeah, it may be slow. It's just like the train. It takes a tremendous amount of money, that too, of energy to get that train to move 1 inch. But when it's going 60 miles an hour, it takes very little. And it's the same thing when you're starting and you're doing stuff. It takes a tremendous amount of energy, you got to have the right systems and all that other stuff. But those are the things that make a difference. You got to think about it, you got to act, and you got to continue to act on it, right? And adjust. You got to make the adjustments here and there, right? So, but anyway, that's my tidbit. You guys all are rock stars. And I really, I'm so glad that Brian couldn't be here today so that I got to talk more intimately with you all.
So who is this Brian guy?
Brian's super great guy. He asks a lot better questions than I do.
Okay.
So
why wasn't he on today? Michael and I are very.
He had a family thing, and family is important, right? That's what I preach. Family first. So, but yeah. So, but this has been wonderful. You all are amazing, and I'm just blessed to have been around you guys a little bit more today. Thanks.
Well, nice meeting you, Michael, and I'll see you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, I've been wanting to get on here for a while, so I'm glad Carrie finally invited me. So thanks for letting me on here finally. I'm one of the regulars that come to this podcast every Thursday. So
yes, you are, Michael. I was going to say, Michael is one of the number 1 viewers and listeners of anybody out there. I see him all the time, and this show was actually the number 1 show in 2021 on The Difference. So that's really cool. And Michael, you and Craig both have an open invitation to come back anytime. Y'all have been one of the most entertaining and informative duo that we've had on here in a long time.
Thank you. Michael and I are starting to date next week.
Wow. Is that an exclusive? Can I put that out?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Awesome.
Write a book about this. I want to read it.
I might have something to say about that, Craig.
I'm happily
You
married.
can put your
don't
recipe
worry.
as a success.
All right, 15 seconds, Stephen. You want to close us out?
Hey, this has been The Difference with the real talk with Michael, with Stephen Beaver and Brian Poduska. And you guys go out and make a difference.